Hi, I'm Warren Sharp, and this is Sharp Football Analysis, breaking down the championship games, AFC Championship game, NFC Championship game, and an early preview of the Super Bowl between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. Can't wait to start talking about it, sharing some of my thoughts with you guys on the show. Stay tuned. All right, let's first get started talking about this NFC Championship game. Obviously, the game that was a little bit more higher scoring, a little bit more exciting. We had better weather, we had more predictable situations, and we had a rivalry between the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. And this game definitely did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. The first thing, though, I've got to question Sean McVay's tactics heading into halftime. His team had scored. They're up 13-10 on the road in hostile territory, and they knew that coming out of the half, the Seattle Seahawks are going to get the ball. McVay has the ball, up 13-10, 2nd and 5, 1 minute and 9 seconds left before halftime. He could have run the football. They're doing well on the ground, and if they gain the first down, great, keep the drive going. If they don't gain the first down, run it again. They're at a decent spot on the field where it's unlikely Seattle is going to call a timeout, especially with where you stand in terms of down and distance, because it's going to be third and very short if you're even only gain a couple of yards. And so as a result, the half basically could bleed out, but you're not going to give the Seattle Seahawks the opportunity to score. Instead, Sean McVay gets ultra aggressive, which was a tendency of his in this game. And sometimes if it works out, you're not really going to complain. But this is one instance where I just didn't know that it was absolutely positively necessary. They throw the ball incompletion on 2nd and 5. On 3rd down, they turn around, they throw the ball again, another incompletion. Seattle gets the ball. They go down the field in like 45 to 50 seconds. They score a touchdown. Now Seattle goes into the locker room leading 17-13 as opposed to trailing 13-10. Seattle gets the ball coming out of the half. They score another touchdown. Now Seattle is leading 24-13. Seattle scores 14 points in basically 3 minutes of game time, from the tail end of the first half to the opening drive possession of the second half, where they scored in 3 minutes. Right there, that right there was the game. I mean, they score 14 points in 3 minutes. That was the game. But the biggest part of the game, the biggest kind of like turning point that would basically in my mind was like, okay, this is not going to be it for the Rams. It's not their day. Was when Xavier Smith tries to go and catch that punt, falling down backwards and just trips over himself. I mean, he didn't even look like I don't even know how he fell down, because he didn't really trip over himself. It didn't look like he tripped over the ground. He just kind of misjudged the flight of the ball. And I know the Seahawks punter is really good at doing that, but you have to be prepared. And worst case scenario, just let it go. Like, just get out of the way. Why are you falling down? If you're falling down, just try to move out of the way. He falls down and tries to catch it at the same time, laying with his back to the ground. I mean, obviously, that's not going to turn out well most of the time, and it didn't in this particular case. The Seattle Seahawks recover the ball, score a touchdown right after that. This was Seattle's day. This was Sam Darnold's day. Now, Matthew Stafford, admirable performance in defeat. I thought Matthew Stafford played really well. I thought that McVay, there were times when he got back into his bag, coached really well from a play calling perspective, got the ground game going. Early on, it was like, okay, is this going to be McVay once again from the Chicago Bears game or the Carolina Panthers game, and just wanting to do nothing but passing the football? They worked the run game in a little bit, and then it allowed them to pass off of that. They had a really nice drive. I think 8 runs, 4 passes, scored a touchdown. That's what helped them go up 13-10. So I thought it was a good game. I mean, these games always seem to be between the Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. I thought it was a lot of fun, but special teams was the difference. Clint Kubiak absolutely was in his bag. I mean, Sam Darnold, we can sing his praises as we should, but Clint Kubiak, from his play calling, from his setting up plays, from his situational awareness, I thought he did a great job of figuring out when to push the right buttons and what sequence to push them in to really give the Seattle Seahawks the upper hand here. I thought he did a great job. And of course, Mike McDonald's defense, just solid coaching from the Seattle Seahawks, both offensively and defensively. And then when you have great special teams as well, it's really hard to beat a team like that. And the Rams tried, but they made too many mistakes. The mistake at the end of the first half, I think, giving the ball back to the Seattle Seahawks with those two pass plays when they could have potentially just run out the first half and gone to halftime with a lead. And then the muffed punt, which was just a travesty. And I don't know why Sean McVay wasn't prepared for that ahead of time. You don't need yards. Like, do you think Smith is going to be giving you a lot of upside from a return perspective? You just need somebody to catch the ball. They ultimately went with Kyron Williams to catch the ball, but once they benched Smith after that disaster that he had, it was too late at that point in time. Seattle Seahawks win a very fun game to close the day out. The day started with good weather in Denver, ended with terrible weather in Denver, and all three of these New England Patriots games have been played in inclement weather in the postseason. So something to consider moving ahead to the game out in Santa Clara, 49ers home stadium. Should be a lot better weather than what the New England Patriots have been dealing with thus far. But that was obviously one of the biggest talking points. Another one to me, and this came out after the game, was the comment that the kicker made for the Denver Broncos, Will Lutz, who said that when they had an opportunity to tie the game with like 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, that the holder was positioned only 7 yards from the back of the center, from where the ball was spotted. He was only 7 yards back to kick the ball, and the defense was able to tip the ball, and that's why the field goal did not go through. The upright was a missed field goal. Usually they're 8 yards back. He was positioned only 7 yards back from the center. They couldn't see the spot on the field, he said. They were guessing, they were trying, they were a little bit rushed, and it was a mistake. And as a result, it potentially resulted in the tipped kick that missed. And instead of tying the game 13-13, the Patriots kept the lead 13-10 with less than 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That whole scenario, that whole sequence was poorly executed, in my opinion, by Sean Payton. Sean Payton goes into that situation. The Patriots punted the ball. It was a bad punt. It was a good return. And Denver Broncos started the drive off with the ball on the Patriots' 33-yard line, down only 3 points with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And the very first play, a team who couldn't run the football at all the entire game, they go with a run to RJ Harvey, and it loses 3 yards. I don't understand why we're doing that. He couldn't run the ball at all the entire game. Then they throw the ball, and it gains no yards. I want to say it was a screen pass that gets no yards. And then on third down, Jared Stidham scrambles with the football to set up the field goal attempt. I don't think that there was enough aggression in that situation from Sean Payton to try to get points out of that drive. The first down run, when you can't run the ball at all, just problematic. They end up missing the field goal too far out, plus not far enough from the spot for the holder. Comedy of errors. So special teams in both games cost the teams that lost. The muffed punt, and then not being far enough back from the spot of the ball when you're holding for a field goal. Weather obviously played a massive role in that game. Very difficult situation for Drake May to have success. So many passes he was targeting Kayshon Boutte over and over. These passes, I think 6 targets maybe, 1 reception for 6 yards. A lot of targets going to Kayshon Boutte. A lot of targets. I mean, the game seemed like the way that it started was the only thing that the Patriots had going were 5-yard completions to Stephon Diggs. And at one point in time, I think their offense had like 6 completions to Diggs for 27 yards or something like that, 25 yards. And that was it. Basically, they didn't really have anything going there. Great opening script from Sean Payton with Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham played like, unfortunately, like a lot of people probably expected Jarrett Stidham to play. He got a lot of hype this past week from former players, from people that watched his film, from a lot of people in the media. And maybe obviously there's good reasons for it, right? These coaches were coveting him. Josh McDaniels wanted him. Sean Payton wanted him. Signed him, a first acquisition, like a lot of money for a backup quarterback. There are signs there, right? The signs are there for why Jarrett Stidham could be a decent player in the NFL, but very difficult situation, being thrust into that role with such little time to prepare. This was not a Nick Foles situation. Nick had played some during the season for the Philadelphia Eagles, had a bye week, I think, to get ready for his first playoff game, had time to prepare. This was not that situation whatsoever for the Denver Broncos. They had to turn around, try to get Stidham ready very quickly against a good defense. And once the weather turned, I mean, there was just nothing there. They could not run the football whatsoever. Tough situation. Now the Seattle Seahawks are going to be going up against that difficult run defense of the New England Patriots. So that's going to be fun and interesting. Let's start breaking down the Super Bowl a little bit. But before I do that, a quick announcement that we are coming off another big weekend for clients. We won another best bet. I mean, this is one of the best years we've ever had here. We've never had another year like this for best bets. Best bets are now 16-3 this year. I do a weekly best bet. I think 1 week maybe we didn't have it. Almost every single other week, I'm pretty sure we've had it. 16 wins, only 3 losses, 84% on my best bet of the week. 1 per week, never had more than 1 a week. And I've got a best bet for the Super Bowl, and we are going to be giving you a big discount for the Super Bowl. I am 5-0 on elevated props since the playoffs got started. Let's see if he wrote the record down here for the elevated props of the season. I want to say they're like 37-13 on the season for elevated props, undefeated so far this postseason. And we've got elevated props for you. I've already got multiple props released for the Super Bowl. We're going to be releasing more props. We're going to have the best bet, which is 16-3. And it's very likely, as I start to, I mean, it's only Monday, but I've already started looking into a bet that I think is worthy of 1.25 units, which is the max that I've released this year. We're a perfect 10-0 on those this year. So we may have one of those for this weekend, for Super Bowl weekend, rather. If you take, you could take $50 off our Super Bowl package. Go to sharp.football. Click the link in the description below as well. You will receive all the Super Bowl bets. That includes my best bet of the week, which is 16-3 this year and undefeated since the end of November. You'll receive the 1.25 unit play, which is 10-0 this season that I would probably have on the Super Bowl. You'll receive all the elevated props, which are undefeated this postseason, 5-0, and like I said, I think 37-13 on the season overall, and any other bets and props, everything else that I have for the Super Bowl. In addition, you'll get my PDF Super Bowl report, which I'm working on. It takes about a week to do. It'll help you from a betting perspective with props. It's about 30 to 40 pages typically in length. One of the most comprehensive Super Bowl reports in the marketplace. And then all of the other written content that we have, all the game predictions, game previews, other best bet articles, and more. So you can get all of that for $50 off the Super Bowl package. Just go to sharp.football to join us today. All right, now let's talk Super Bowl, Patriots, Seahawks. Last time that these two met in the Super Bowl, obviously very memorable. Let's hope this game stands up to that. You know, a heavy act to follow, as they say, but it's going to be a lot of fun breaking down this game over the next couple of weeks. We'll dive much more into it on this YouTube channel throughout the course of this 2-week period leading into the Super Bowl. Just so as you know, we're going to have Rich and Ray on doing a deep dive preview here in 2 days' time on this channel on Thursday. We're going to be breaking down a deep, detailed analysis from me, Rich, and Ray on a three-man show. Middle of next week, I want to say Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, we're going to be recruiting your favorite prop angles, and we're going to be doing a Shark Tank style theme for a best prop of the Super Bowl that you guys submit. We'll select which one we think is the best. The winner is going to receive an outstanding prize. We'll have more information on that coming up very soon. That's going to be a lot of fun to enter. A lot of people entered it last year. We actually take the video submissions, because you can do video submissions. We will play them on a special show called the Shark Tank Super Bowl Props Show, where you guys submit your favorite ideas. We narrow them down, play about 5 to 10 of your favorite props. We evaluate, we discuss them, and then we share some of our own. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be coming up next week. Get ready. Start thinking of your favorite prop, because you're going to need to submit it next week to get a chance to win. Get your face, your video, your sales pitch for this prop on this channel right here on a special podcast. Big story here for me in this game, obviously Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, of course, finally getting that opportunity. Will he perform well in this spot? But in order to answer that question, really what I'm curious to figure out is, what is the approach going to be from the Seattle Seahawks offensively in this game? We talked about Clint Kubiak and how great he called the game in the NFC Championship. Now he's going up against an elite run defense of the New England Patriots, especially with Milton Williams back. You all know all the statistics. RJ Harvey couldn't do anything in last week's game. Most running backs can't do anything when Milton Williams is out on the field. Are you going to be comfortable? We saw the Houston Texans try this strategy. Run the ball on first down for nothing and set your quarterback up with second and obvious passing situation. That's what the Houston Texans attempted to do. Failed miserably, putting CJ Stroud into obvious passing situations. What did I just talk about a second ago on Denver's critical possession, where they started with the ball at the New England 33-yard line, just needing a field goal to tie the game? Their 1st and 10, they called a run play. It lost 3 yards, and then they missed their field goal, the chance to tie the game. Too many teams are trying to come out and run the football against the New England Patriots run defense. That sets them up for problematic down and distances from that point forward in the series. Will the Seattle Seahawks fall into that same trap? If they do try to run the football, will they have more success than some of these other teams? If they don't have more success, will they be able to convert and make up on 2nd and 3rd down and get back on track and move the sticks? Or will they wind up punting the football too much? Or will Kubiak throw the football a lot more than anticipated? Or then, let's say, what the Seattle Seahawks have done on the season. Because if you don't know, the Seattle Seahawks are the most run-heavy team in the NFL. They have called the highest rate of run plays on the course of the season on early downs in the first half of games. So ignoring game script and just looking at basically neutral state situations on early downs, they are the 4th highest run rate team in the NFL. So the Patriots sometimes play in pass first teams that like to pass the ball. Denver really loved to pass the football, didn't run it much, but it's harder without Bo Nix. You're doing it with a backup quarterback, of course. But now you're going up against a Seattle Seahawks team that loves to run the football. So will Seattle continue to run the football on first down and get stuck or not? That is basically one of the biggest question marks, and you have to figure out the answer to that to try to help understand how many points Seattle might score, because you're not going to score that many points if you're quite frequently in 2nd and long on so many different series. The other thing on the other side of the ball is Mike Macdonald's defense. This Seattle Seahawks defense is balanced. It's legit. It's not as strong against the run as the Patriots have been lately, but it's very balanced. Great against the pass, great against the run, and he has great schemes. And young quarterbacks in their 1st or 2nd year do very poorly against this scheme, against Mike Macdonald. He's got 2 weeks to prepare for Drake May, who has not looked great this postseason. This Patriots offense has really fallen off. They've really leaned into Ramondre Stevenson. Travion Henderson, doghouse or not, he has not been contributing very much to this offense either. As I just mentioned, what this offense looked like last week, even in the good weather, it seemed like this offense was basically just dinking dunks to Stephon Diggs and a lot of punts thereafter. So how effective will this offense of the New England Patriots be against this great defense of the Seattle Seahawks? Will we see some more aggression or different style of attack from Josh McDaniels? Now, the weather might not be quite as bad. What will they look to do with Drake May? How frequently will they try to run the ball with Ramondre Stevenson? Will they get Travion Henderson involved as a runner, as a receiver? There's a lot of questions here because the Patriots have, I don't want to say a lot of mouths to feed, but they have plenty of diverse mouths that they can incorporate into this offense. Yes, Diggs is their wide receiver one, but they've got a lot of receivers. They got a lot of tight ends. They got running backs out of the backfield. They could do a lot of different things. What direction is Josh McDaniels going to try to do in this game? How will he look to try to attack this very difficult defense of the Seattle Seahawks? That's going to go a long way to dictating how much the Seahawks need to do themselves offensively. And if the Patriots aren't really putting up very many points, then we might not need to see a lot of passing out of the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe they do just lean into the run on first down and are okay with dealing with second and long because the Patriots offense isn't having enough success. So that's going to be paramount for Josh McDaniels to try to figure out a way to get going earlier on in this game and get some success against this very difficult Seattle Seahawks defense. Because I'll just tell you this. I don't know if you remember in that game yesterday against the Seahawks where it was a 4-play, 75-yard drive between Matthew Stafford basically going to Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. Chunk, got down to the 2-yard line into the end zone with Kyron Williams. 4 plays, 75 yards. As much as we think Drake May has played well this season, exceeding expectations in year 2, this is not Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams on the New England Patriots. Right? Drake May might get to where Matthew Stafford. This team is not aggressively chunking the ball down the field with perfect timing, play after play after play, and punching it in. It's going to be more difficult for the Seahawks, for the Patriots to move the ball down the field against this very same Seattle Seahawks defense. So it's going to be a big time challenge. That's why I'm really curious to see the X's and O's matchup and the game plans. And it's very early. We're going to be breaking all of it down for you guys right here on this channel, digging into more analysis, some more situational things, sharing some more of our predictions and what we anticipate, talking bets, props, and much more over the course of the next 2 weeks. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you do it right now. Click the subscribe button, whether you're on YouTube or over on your favorite podcast app. And we'll see you in just a couple of days to break down more Super Bowl preview between the Seahawks and the Patriots.